Okay, welcome everybody. This is the master class for the 8-week leadership class that we just completed. Super excited that we kind of collectively agreed, and then I ultimately decided that continuing on was the way to go, because we laid so many good foundations down, I feel like, in the last 8 weeks. Really looking at goal setting in a new way, looking at the comp plan as a strategy for achieving those goals, and then building belief in ourselves and understanding our role as an influential leader, learning to share our story, talking about sponsorship, building a team, and then it was eight weeks was done, and it was like, oh my gosh, that there's still so much more to talk about. So I'm hoping that I haven't completely crafted this entire 8 weeks. So kind of like last 8 weeks, I was sort of working it as I went and creating it as we went along. I'm kind of doing the same thing with this. So thank you for being guinea pigs for this next 8 weeks. I have listened and heard a lot of things repeated over and over about what leaders struggle with and things that they want to know more about and talk more about. And I also obviously have my own experiences and the things that I've struggled with and wish somebody had told me sooner, So today's topic is kind of I don't even know. I titled it "Being a Leader is Choosing." But I think it's just talking about leadership a little bit and kind of laying, again, like a groundwork for what we're going to build on, because you can't stand, you have to be standing on solid ground to move forward and do the things that you want to do in this business and as a leader. But then I'm going to go into, in the next coming weeks, we're going to do a whole week on personality types, understanding who you are and how you function, but then understanding that you're going to have a million different other personality types on your team, people that you wouldn't have necessarily chosen to work with or be friends with, but they're there. And you need to know as a leader how to work with all kinds of different people. We're going to work with some strengths-based leadership stuff from this book that I've been working on so I'm going to put together some calls related to that. More about sponsorship, talking about team meetings, some of the nuts and bolts of running a team meeting, incorporating Zoom and technology and things like that, how to communicate with your team, incentives, and then really like just wherever the wind blows. This is a really loose outline at this point, but I'm looking forward to developing it and hopefully giving you something that you feel is really valuable for your experience in Trades of Hope and your business and your leadership path. So today's topic is about choosing leadership, which you don't actually choose to be a leader, but I'll get to that in a minute. Direct sales is an incredible business model. We talked a lot about it in the last 8 weeks, that it is truly a business that anybody can do. For a very small amount of money, you can invest in owning your own business that can have limitless income potential. And there's no requirement, there's no education level requirement, there's no skill set requirement. You literally just have to be 18 years old and be able to pay for whatever the startup kit is, and you can have your own business in direct sales. And that's incredible. And that's, to think about that is, there are millions of people that use direct sales, and then there are, as a way to take care of their families, and then there's a portion of people that have incredible life-changing incomes because of a direct selling business, and that's really exciting. To think about having no ceiling, no limit to what you're doing, and then throw in the piece of Trades of Hope that with that you can also impact lives all around the world, and there's no limit to that, that the ripple effect of direct sales applied to our mission is so incredibly powerful and inspiring and motivating. It's just really exciting. But to get to the top of any direct sales plan, you have to build a team. You have to be willing to step into leadership Some people step into it, some people fall into it, some people stumble into it. However you get into it, it's when you start to sponsor and you start to build a team and you start to grow in leadership, that's where you're going to grow into your compensation plan. There's no other way to tap into that limitless income potential unless you're growing a team and stepping into leadership. So choosing to do that can be awesome, can be life-changing. But sometimes when you're choosing to lead, it seems like a crazy thing to choose. You're choosing to deal with people, which for some people is easier than others. But it's a lot of different kind of people, and people are a little crazy, and there are people that you don't know and people that don't even live in your town that you have to build relationships with. And that seems kind of crazy. You're also choosing to choosing to lead, you're choosing disappointments, because the further along you go and the more people that you are leading and sponsoring, bringing into the business, the more disappointments there's going to be, yours and then the disappointments of the people that are joining with you. Choosing to lead means more work. It just does. Choosing to lead means more risk. Emotionally, not necessarily financially, but you are investing time, which is your most precious resource, and there's a risk in giving time to the wrong people. So why would you choose to lead? You have to work with people, tons of disappointments, more work, and more risk. Well, instead of thinking about choosing to lead as crazy, I like to think about choosing to lead as crazy good. People. Right? You're choosing to lead people. Well, people that are doing things that they didn't think they could do because of your belief in them. You're choosing to lead people into transformational experiences, watching people blossom into who they were created to be right before your eyes because of your loving influence and encouragement. Disappointments. Now, you're choosing to lead, and there's going to be more disappointments, but I see disappointments as breakthroughs, as opportunities to learn something, to pay attention when God closes that door or closes the window even. It's because he wants you to look in a different direction and see something. He turns your head. We are in the personal growth business. And so being the champion of finding good in a situation and helping somebody through a disappointment and a struggle can be one of the most rewarding experiences you will ever have. Being able to find that teachable moment, seek out the positive for others has an amazing impact on you. You're choosing more work when you're becoming a leader, but more work, it's work that's actually kind of addictive. It's work that you just can't get enough of. It's passion filled. It's fun because it's challenging and purposeful. You know, you're never going to have the same day twice when you are choosing the work of a leader. You're never going to be bored. If you're bored, you're not doing something, you're not working enough, or you're not looking for the opportunities to invest in people. And it's also more risk, but more risk leads to more growth. And ultimately, that risk of investing in people and growing a team is what lifts the ceiling off your income potential. And so more risk does truly equal more reward in this industry and in this business. So yes, choosing to lead is crazy, but I think choosing to lead is crazy good because of those same things that seem like negative aspects. I actually think they're positive. The people, the disappointments, the more work, and the more risk ultimately are the things that make leading so rewarding and so satisfying and truly addictive. As a leader, your commitment to this mission needs to be rock solid. You are, I talk about like Trades of Hope is like knitted to my soul. It's a non-negotiable commitment that I have made to this company, to the artisans, and I'm all in. And if you ever feel like you're wavering in that commitment, talk to somebody who went on a vision trip. Come tomorrow night to the Straight Outta Haiti meeting that we're having, at 8:30 tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern, and hear from the 9 women who just got back from Haiti. They filled my tank big time yesterday when we were talking, and it was amazing. But if you ever need a recommitment ceremony, reach out to somebody who's been on a vision trip. Reach out to somebody, go watch Miss Florence. Go watch the video that first made you cry about Trades of Hope. Read a great book, but you gotta keep that commitment rock solid and non-negotiable. And like Thecla pointed out yesterday, and it's something that I've said before that is so important, the work that we do is life and death. And as a leader, you might not want to say that all the time, like on your team pages, like, hey guys, it's life and death. You don't go do a party tonight. That's not necessarily what I'm saying, but that's your level of commitment as a leader needs to be non-negotiable. That it really, with Trades of Hope, it is something bigger than a product. And honestly, I could not have that level of commitment to any other company other than Trades of Hope. I tried it with another company and it didn't work. For me, it has to be Trades of Hope. It has to be the artisans. It has to be something bigger than myself. And, other direct sales companies will say that they're, doing, and they are changing lives in different ways, but you just cannot change what we are doing and the difference that it compared to other direct sales companies, because we're so much more than just a product. And so as a leader, you've got to find that level of commitment for yourself. I have removed all of the ifs. I never say if about my business and about my goals. It's truly about when, and when I'm going to do something. And of course, the achievements, the goals, all of it, those ideas are set in concrete, but the timeline is set in sand. So the when can move, and that's not a failure. If you don't qualify for leadership this month, there is a deadline on that. And if you don't do it, well, when are you going to do it? You're going to do it next year. The only way that you can fail is to quit. So just a couple of days ago, there was an article posted on our directors page that I felt like I wanted to use as kind of the framework for this call today. In the directors page, we've been going through a lot of different resources. There's tons of trainers and direct sales people out there on YouTube and all over the internet that are sharing great ideas about leading a team and direct selling and sponsoring and all kinds of things. But this was an article from CEO of Me, and it really spoke to me. And it was basically 5 things that that a leader goes through, 5 important lessons that a leader learns. I really only am going to talk about 4 of them, and I made them applicable to my experience in Trades of Hope and kind of my take on them. So I'm quoting CEO of Me for parts of it, but the rest of it's mine. Really, it's just the problem that I'm quoting, or the experience that I'm quoting. The rest of it is mine. So number 1, which I think is incredibly important for all leaders to understand, and all aspiring leaders, is that you don't have to know everything to be a leader. You actually have to know very, very little. I mean, I might look like I know a lot, and that I can be very articulate in the way that I speak and present things, but honestly, I wrote this talk at 5:30 this morning because I just wasn't ready. I wasn't feeling, I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know what I wanted to say. I put out the idea of a master class with no actual plan. I just said, okay, we're going to do this. I'm going to figure it out. But I certainly did not have a master class curriculum prepared for the next 8 weeks in my back pocket ready to go. I put stuff out all the time that I'm like, okay, I said this, and now I have to figure out how to do it. Because that's what being a leader is. You don't wait until you're fully prepared or you know everything. You work on the fly sometimes, or all the time. But that's part of the excitement. That's part of that more work kind of challenging you and becoming almost addictive. I am constantly working on the fly, learning more. If I don't know it, I'm going to go find out the answer. I'm changing the way that I'm doing things. I'm adapting, and I'm trying to do better. So as a leader, you don't have to know how to do everything. You really don't have to know how to do much. I am definitely a leader. I consider myself a leader. But I also feel like I have not scratched the surface of who I can be as a leader. And that's really exciting to me. I have always been a lifelong learner. I joined Trades of Hope partially because I liked the stories and the idea of digging into new topics. At the beginning of my business, my topics that I really wanted to learn about were job creation and sustainable business and fair trade and understanding how all of that works. And I'm still learning about those things. But right now, my topic that I'm really digging into is leadership and personal growth. And I'm loving it. I love that I get to learn new things all the time and then turn around literally like hours later and share them with you. As a teacher of high school students for 11 years, I was constantly challenged about everything, asked questions all the time that I didn't know the answer to. And after a decade of teaching, more than a decade, I became very good at saying, I don't know. You know, somebody asked me something, I have no clue, but I'll see if I can find out. And I think that those years of saying that and just truly being okay with not knowing everything have helped me in this business. Because you can do the same thing as a CE. When they ask you a question, you don't, even if you, the better thing is that even if you know the answer, you can say, I don't know, but I'm sure you could find out. Or I know the answer to that, but I'll tell you where you can find it. And that didn't make me a bad teacher, and it definitely doesn't make me a bad leader. So you don't have to know everything to be a leader. You are constantly going to be learning and seeking out answers and doing something one way and then realizing that you want to do it differently the next time. And that's great. And that's a huge important lesson. And when you believe that and own that, then you are on your way. The second thing, and this is also incredibly important, and I have learned the hard way, and some of you have as well, it's important to invest in your team members' potential, but not in their choices. So this is a hard one for many of you, and I've been burned by this pretty badly. You know, I have made the mistake of dubbing someone, a brand new CE, as a rock star, and I hear you guys do it sometimes, and now that I've like gone further down the road, I'm like, I kind of cringe. Because you make somebody a rock star before they've really had time to make their way. You know, you invest in the potential of somebody, but don't invest in the potential of somebody and then dream for them. There's a difference. You have to believe, you invest in their potential, but you still have to open up the door for them to make their own way. What did I say? Oh, I was turning people into me and dreaming for people, basically assuming that they wanted the same things that I wanted for my business or that I had achieved for my business. And I was not allowing them to be them. And that has burned me. You have to protect your heart. You have to love people and encourage them as a leader. You have to give them the tools. You have to communicate with them. You have to listen to them and listen to what they want. But when they ultimately choose a slower path or a different path, or even a path that leads them out of the business, you have to know that it has nothing to do with you, that it's not your fault, and that bless and release is an incredibly important phrase to get into your head and into your heart and realize is okay. It is so true that it's not you. And you cannot get stagnated by people that you've invested in. As a leader, you will invest in their potential, but you cannot invest and take personally the choices that they ultimately make. Because I've seen people just get stuck because they're so hurt by the loss of the time that they invested in somebody, or they take it so personally that somebody has left the business. Don't do that. I just watched You've Got Mail for like the 988th time the other day. Because, of course, if it's on TV, you watch it, right? Like, you have to stop. So I watched like an hour of it the other day. But they were having their chat, and she's asking him for advice about business. And he said, you know, Tom Hanks' character is like, it's not personal, it's business. And she's like, it's not personal, it's business. And yes, it is different in direct sales. There is a lot of personal to it and relationship building. But it's still ultimately business, and you still, as a leader, can protect your heart. And just remember, you're investing in potential. Don't make somebody a rock star. Don't dream for somebody. Give them the tools, encourage them, love them, find out what they want, and then help them achieve it. And if they don't want it, that's not your fault. The third thing is leaders need to be consistently working and rebuilding often their own personal business. Don't learn this one the hard way, because I've seen it happen, and it's so challenging. You know, it's like, what is the saying about steam engines? Like, you know, or just think about a steam engine. Like when it comes to a halt, like getting a steam engine moving again is so much harder than like putting more coal in a fire and keeping one rolling down the tracks, right? So your business becomes very quickly a steam engine that has stopped, that has gone cold, that is this giant heavy thing that feels really, really hard to get going down the hill again. And it doesn't take long for it to happen. So don't stop your personal business just because you're building a team. Like I said, the only way to fail is to quit. So no matter where you are, no matter what you've had in the past, you can make today day one again. The steps that got you to advanced CE or master CE or manager for the first time will be the same steps that will get you there again. Book, sell, sponsor, repeat. That never, ever changes. Your personal calendar must be secure. And if you don't have a good party calendar that's bringing in $1,000 to $2,000 in PRV, then that's your first task. You got to get your house in order before you go over and like clean the neighbor's house, right? So you should spend 50% of your time on your personal business, no matter how high you go in the plan. I spend 50% of my time on my personal business, and I keep my personal business healthy. You have to do that, whether it's day one or day 1,500 like I'm on. Number 4, and this is probably the biggest one, failing or missing a goal does not make you a failure. Failing or missing goals does not make you a failure. Quitting is what makes you a failure. So if you don't hit a team goal, if you don't earn the promotion, if you don't make leadership, if you don't get the vision trip, if you're not top, walking across the stage for recognition, you are not a failure. Choosing to stop trying.
Amen. Thank you, Erin. That is awesome. Thank you for saying that. That's really encouraging. Thank you.
Choosing to stop trying or comparing yourself to others or getting caught up in achievements instead of focusing on helping others get what they want, that will make you a failure. It's a hard one. This is probably the hardest one to even hear. You have to allow ebb and flow in your business. We see women go through the Smart Start, and I will tell you there's some adjustments to Smart Start coming down the pike, because we see women get to the end of the Smart Start and they feel really burned out, and then they also feel really disappointed that they cannot get that same sales again, or they can't repeat what they just did in those first 4 months in the next 4 months. And then all of a sudden they feel aimless and they don't know what they're going for, and their business just dries up. We have to set our commitments straight as leaders. We have to remember that our first joy is others' success, and we cannot get caught up. We have to keep our attitude healthy, and we have to be balanced and move forward. We cannot move backwards as leaders. You cannot dwell on what happened. And dwelling is different from learning. Dwelling on and learning from are two completely different concepts. So when I have a disappointment, or I have something that I didn't get, or I didn't hit, or whatever it is, I learn from it. I don't ignore that it happened. I go back to it. I look at what happened. I learn from it, but I do not dwell on it. So there's a difference there. Don't dwell. Learn and keep moving forward. Because when you become stuck, that is another way to fail. Don't become stuck in disappointment, because you would never want your teammate to do that. You would never want someone in your downline to do that. So you can't do that as a leader. So choosing to be a leader is the most rewarding path. And honestly, it's not even a chosen path. It just happens because of the other choices that you make along your journey. This quote from Douglas MacArthur: "A true leader has the confidence to stand alone, the courage to make tough decisions, and the compassion to listen to the needs of others. She does not set out to be a leader, but she becomes one by the equality of her actions and the integrity of her intent." So serving others is the ultimate reward in life, right? I mean, it's true in this business, but that's really what life is all about. And you will never feel more loved or more blessed or closer to God when you are serving others. But God is also the God of industry. And I had a great conversation with Holly a few years back when I was struggling with women who were blaming God essentially for their business not being successful. And I had a really hard time with that. And she said, you know what? God is the God of industry and of work and hard work. And he wants you to get yourself moving, to work smarter, and to learn and to grow and work hard. And what really helped me last year was this. I have these ABC scripture cards, and this was the W card, and I just basically commandeered it from my kitchen and put it in my office because it was what I needed to realize and recognize and keep my focus on. And it's Colossians 3:23. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord and not for men. And I believe in hard work. I work really, really hard at my business, but I have to keep my focus on service, because that's the ultimate reward. That's what God wants me to focus on. And that is what's going to give me the most reward ultimately. And I do lose sight of it sometimes. And so I put that in front of me, in front of my face. I do my best work when that's my focus. And because the ultimate calling on anyone's life is to serve. It's his calling. And when I don't listen to that, or I get caught up in minutia, or I get hung up on myself, I start to feel lost. So you got to keep your head straight and your heart straight. And when I tell you that this is a journey, it is 100% a journey, but it's a wonderful journey. And it's a journey that you're choosing to be on that seems crazy at the onset, but I can tell you all of those crazy things will be the ultimate reward for you. So I'm really glad that you've chosen this journey, that you want to go into this next level of leadership. That's all I've got for our call for today, but hopefully that gives you some things to mull over and it's so cool to do these things and do these hard things and grow together through them. And I can't tell you enough how much I enjoy pouring into you guys because of what it ultimately gives back to me. So thank you for your willingness to be on this call and for your willingness to watch it live. Hi, now I can see everybody. Hi, Lacey. Hi, Brittany. Hi, guys. Hi, Andrea. Hi, Veronica. Because it really does ultimately feed my soul. So I say that it's a selfish thing that I get to do these calls, and it really, serving you fills me up more than anything else. And I hope that all of you find that in leadership, because that's really what it's all about. So that's week 1. Got to go now to the new leadership crew coming in. So thank you guys for being on today. And I will post the recording later with a little bit of homework and takeaway place for you to comment over on our group. So thanks, ladies. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for being on.